So I recently actually finished the first 3 books of the Wheel of Time series, and yo, I have a lot of things to say, to be honest. Like, there's a lot of things that actually goes through, and I feel like there's a lot of things that new readers should know before they actually come and dive into the world of the Wheel of Time, do you know what I mean? And yo, it's actually quite hectic. And if you've read all of the books of the Wheel of Time and you know you're into more spoiler content, I actually do like very detailed review of the Wheel of Time book by book. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check out my Wheel of Time playlist. I will pop it up somewhere up there. And yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so I'll try to keep it as spoiler free possible for any new Wheel of Time readers. So you're gonna start off with The Eye of the World, which is a massive book. It's massive. I think it's like 800 pages. Oh no, 700 pages, my bad. 7,500 pages. Like, that's mad. Like, it's a big ass book. But honestly speaking, this book is a gem to read. Like, honestly, if you have read The Lord of the Rings or if you watched The Lord of the Rings before, it's very similar. Like, they take the same aspects, do you know what I mean? Like, someone's chosen from like a small village, then they have to find, the quest to pretty much like solve the puzzle or solve the danger that's coming into the world. So that's the first book, but however, it's done very uniquely. Like, there's different like monsters and different evil creatures that's very similar to The Lord of the Rings, but I don't know, it just gives its own vibe. That's why I absolutely love the first book. The only problem that I and a lot of other readers had with the first book is the ending, and this is something that is going to be very common throughout the whole entire series, is that not everything is clearly explained, especially with the first book. I think the first book is the main highlight of this problem. The ending is very confusing at times. Actually, it is very confusing. I would say the last 150 pages or so. There's just a lot of answers that needs to be answered. There's a lot of questions that needs to be answered. My bad. Yeah, there's a lot of questions that needs answering, and it feels overwhelming. Like, you feel like you've read a lot, but then you just got nothing out of it. But it gets explained in the next 2 books nicely. Like, you would definitely get a lot, and I feel like the next 2 books does a lot better with the ending. Like, the ending is more clear, more it doesn't make you confused. Like, there's a lot of mystery, but then the mystery feels authentic. Like, you would expect the mystery to be answered, while in the end of book 1, you're like, you wait, what? There's like a vibe, like you know that you are stepping towards the answer. Like, if you get what I mean. Well, I feel like since you first enter the first book, it's hard because you just entered a massive world and you're like confused as hell. You're like, whoa, what's going on? But like, other than that, that's probably the only con that I'm gonna give to this entire series, is that there's a lot of questions that needs answering, especially with the end of book 1. I feel like the end of book 1 is will probably be the most challenging part for new readers. Alright, now let's talk about the characters, man. The characters, like, there's some characters that will grow onto you and that will get some amazing character development. Like, guys, The Wheel of Time has 14 or 15 books in total, I'm not sure, but it's a long book. Like, any characters can just get like a character work just like that, man. I feel like book 1 does an amazing work with pretty much every single characters. While I feel like The Dragon Reborn, the book 3, there's 1 or 2 characters that gets insanely good work, while everyone else just falls off, you know what I mean? But it's to be expected, you know what I mean? It's a big book, you can't make everything perfect. But I feel like overall the characters, like, the main characters, there's 3 main characters. It's hard because there's probably like 3 or 5 main characters, you know what I mean? And I feel like all of them are amazing. Like, nothing can go wrong with them. And then you've got like the mysterious wizard that comes into town, and her and her bodyguard kind of thing. There's like, for them, it's a big hit in book 1, and then slowly it becomes a miss. But don't take my word, I only read 3 books. You never know. Like, for example, in book 3, there's 1 character that was kind of redundant in the first 2 books, even though he was pretty good. Out of nowhere, he gets this massive character work in book 3. It's insane. Like, do not rule any characters out with the Wheel of Time. That's one thing I've learned. Do not rule any characters out. There's also this another character. He's like this what do you call it? He's like he's not human, but he's like a different kind of thing. He's like, I don't know, he's like a troll, an ogier. He's not human, but you know what I mean? But you guys are gonna love him, man. His name is Loyal. Like, if you guys, when you guys see the word Loyal, you guys will love him, man. Alright, now let's talk about the bad guys, the villains, the antagonists, like all of those bad stuff, man. And yo, I feel like the Wheel of Time does a pretty solid job. I wouldn't say it's amazing. It's not the best villains I've ever seen in my life, you know what I mean? There's a lot of other series that has better villains, but the Wheel of Time does a pretty good job. I feel like I would give the villains an overall score of 7 out of 10. There's one villain in book 1 and book 2 that absolutely knocks it out of the park. Like I said, do you remember how I said there's a lot of questions that needs to be answered? That's like with the villains. A lot of questions needs to be answered with the villains. So since I only read 3 books, maybe I can't say that much, but you know, after my raw thoughts on the first 3 books, I would say the villains and the bad side of the story is not completely explained just as yet. So overall, they're pretty good. They're not the best, but you can't expect them to be the best after 3 books. 3 books is like, what, 30% of the whole entire stories? Okay, now let's talk about the world and the theme of the whole entire story. So the world building is pretty ridiculous. Like, there's so many different like cities, town, countries, I'm not sure. It's ridiculous. Like, they're all different from each other. I think they all have different accents. Like, you would be put into a different world every single time. Like, it's mad. Like, I feel like the world building is a solid 9 out of 10, bro. It's insane. Now the themes, there's not too many themes that, you know, hit me like that, but there are some themes here and there that, you know, are pretty strong, but overall it's not that strong as of yet. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like on the mediocre side so far. I would give it like a 6.5 out of 10 so far, but the world building is absolutely insane. I only feel like it's gonna go up from here, you know what I mean? Like, so far, the Wheel of Time, the character work and the world building is absolutely insane. And, oh, actually, now hold up. The action. Let's talk about the action, yeah? Because the action is absolutely ridiculous, bro. Holy moly. These action scenes are absolutely mental. So yeah, the actions are 9.5 out of 10. I'll just say that, 9.5 out of 10. Yeah. And now I think another thing I would like to talk about is the magic system. So the magic system is actually pretty interesting because it's very it's like elemental. The magic system is very elemental. Like, you're dealing with fire, water, earth, lightning, all that stuff, right? So it's not the most creative magic system yet you will come across, but the way that Robert Jordan applies it in a specific moment is spot on. You know what I mean? So I feel like I said, the magic system might not seem appealing, but given the circumstances it's used in, I feel like it's a big hit. Like, I feel like Robert Jordan nailed it so far. Every single magic system, like, there was not one magic system moment, like one magic moment that didn't feel wrong. It just feels right. So I feel like he nailed it with the magic system. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. And now the overall story. Is the overall story good? Now, honestly, I'll give you my honest thoughts. These 3 books felt like a prologue to me. It felt like a prologue to a bigger thing. Do you know what I mean? I like, for example, I don't want to get into spoilers, so I'm not gonna be very detailed, but I'm just gonna say it felt like a prologue to me. It felt like one story. These 3 books felt like one book to me, if that makes sense. It felt like a prologue to a massive sequences of like story that's going to come. Like, I feel like all of the unanswered stuff that's happened here, it feels like a setup. It feels like a setup to something much bigger. So it's like you've got one problem here, another problem here, and another problem here, but then they all kind of lead up to this problem, if that makes sense. That's just the vibe I got out of the book. But I feel like the writing was solid, the pacing was solid, everything about the first 3 books are solid. I'll give the first book a 9 out of 10, the second book a 9.2 out of 10, and then the third book an 8 out of 10. Like, every single book was so good. And would I recommend you to start the Wheel of Time? Absolutely yes, you guys should. But just bear in mind that, you know, especially at the end of the book 1, there's a lot of stuff that may, you know, confuse you here and there, but trust me, keep reading. If anything confuses you, the only thing that you need to do is keep reading. Keep reading, cuz that's the only thing you guys need to do, and you guys should be good. And of course, if you guys are into any spoiler content of the Wheel of Time, don't forget to check out my playlist on the Wheel of Time. I do very detailed reviews on the Wheel of Time series, book by book, chapters by chapters, like multiple chapters, like bunched up together. I do detailed videos on that. If you're interested in that, check them out. And that's all for today. Thank you guys for watching this video, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the Wheel of Time. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next Wheel of Time video. Take care now. Bye.